It's November 21st, 1993, and we're in Greenville, Ohio for the annual Peace Pipe Enduro hosted by the Treaty City Motorcycle Club. Even though it's a nice, warm, sunny day today, it's been raining all week, and this is expected to be a very difficult run. So, last week you didn't think you could even have this thing, huh?
No, that whole motocross track down there was underwater. All you could see is the top of the jumps. I never thought we'd be able to have it. It's pretty good shape.
Into making a movie.
Yeah, I was out there a little bit earlier, and the fields look deceptively dry.
Do they? Yeah, you're right on the deceptively part, because they're not real dry, but they're pretty good riding.
Too small. They're size 10 and I wear 11s, but once I get my feet in them, I can go really fast. But shit, when they're cold and frozen like this, I can't even get my feet in them, so it's starting out rough.
Inside the clubhouse, most of the riders have already signed up. Here's some of the trophies they're giving out. With me to describe the action is Kirk Sessions, who was one of the competitors that you'll see out here on the course.
Here's Tim Atkins fueling up and getting ready for an early start. And if we knew what was ahead of us, I don't think we'd all be lining up so cheerful to start the race.
And there the first riders are off.
There's Rick Lanning getting ready to start out in an Enduro, an old AA rider from back from the Terry Cunningham days. There I am, breaking in my new bike at the Greenville Enduro. What a way to go.
It'll be broken in by the time you get done with this one, Kirk.
Here's a course member directing people into a wood section.
Looks like even the easy spots are muddy today.
Yeah, and that water is cold. With over 5 inches of rain during the week, it had plenty of time to soak in those cold temperatures.
A little bit out of control.
Right.
Okay, this rider's coming into the section just before the big downhill that you'll see here in just a moment. Here they come through the woods. They're going to cross this log, and just about maybe 150 or 200 feet down the trail is the big downhill.
I believe that was Rodney Drew, one of the first riders off the line.
Here they come down the hill. The hill itself wasn't too bad, but there's a nice water hole at the bottom.
I believe that was the biggest surprise of every rider, was seeing how deep that hole with all that water in was right off the bat, first couple miles into the race.
This is early enough into the event that we haven't had a chance to sort out the good riders from the also-rans.
Well, here I go, first water test on my new bike.
Looks nice and clean, Kirk.
It's time for a bath.
Yeah, not too bad. Some people just get into trouble right away.
I'd hate to see him tie his shoes in the morning. Probably ties them in knots. Well, this is what Enduros are all about. Coming to the famous bottleneck sections.
Now looks like we're getting a little traffic jam here, huh?
Yep, and like I said, that water is cold. There's really no alternate way around this water hole. There's logs and debris on both sides, so there's only just one line going in and 2 or 3 lines going out. And it looks like the one rider is making the one line pretty deep. There's Kirk Patel from KRW Cycles taking a water sample.
He's on your bike, isn't he? That's not a very nice way to treat
Well,
a
he
friend's
said he'd wash it
motorcycle.
for me, so I guess he's doing that.
Well, he kept his word on that.
The riders are moving through the mud hole pretty good right now, but all it takes is one rider to fall down and then things will start backing up again. Looks like riders are trying to save a lot of money at the car wash today. When you hit that cold water, all your muscles seem to clamp up, and it makes it very difficult to get back on your bike.
Okay, this rider's trying a different line. Try to go around the mud hole. Doesn't look real easy, but it's definitely possible to go that way. Now, there's another rider down. Sometimes even being careful doesn't seem to do too much good, does it?
No, especially when you're lined up for the depths of doom there. Spectators are brave today, jumping in that water and helping the riders out.
Now, that's some real dedication.
Sure is. Tell you, being a rider, sometimes you don't know how glad we are to see spectators at times like that.
Whoa, here goes one. When it's laying like that, it's pretty heavy to pick up, too.
Yeah. Yeah, once a bike waters out and draws in water into the engine, you almost have to take it up to the other side of the bank to get the water out.
Couldn't quite make that turn.
When it's this muddy, your rear brakes just don't lock up your rear wheel at all.
Whoa.
I believe that's Robert Vollmeyer, senior A rider.
Well, that was kind of like a ballet or something, wasn't it?
Or a circus act.
I bet he feels pretty cool right now. Whoa, there's another one down. You have to keep your balance when you're in one of those ruts.
Yeah.
There's a human chain formed there. Now this guy takes a line and goes diagonally across that rut, which is a real good way to keep from getting caught in it and get around that corner.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back in the drink.
I'm glad I didn't break in my bike like he is.
I'd say he's watered out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's gonna have to pull out his spark plug and pump out the water, and possibly wring out his air cleaner, and hopefully it'll start after that.
Well, we're coming up on the bog now, Kirk.
Okay. This bog seems to be in the race every year, and as you can see, spectators know about it in advance.
Yeah, this is a great Greenville tradition. Here comes our first riders.
And they are muddy. And as usual, it takes one rider to start digging out the trench, and then it makes it harder for the riders after them coming through. This rider's lucky, at least he's on the other side of the bank. Gets his bike up out on top there, and he'll have it made.
Now that area out there, you have to be very careful. It looks real easy, but if you get too far out there, it's extremely soft.
Right.
In fact, it's worse than this.
We've been known to...
There's a couple of them right now.
There I'm going, already missing a handguard off my bike, but make it through the bog. Still running condition.
Didn't have to get off and push. I thought that was pretty good.
Yep.
There you can see some of that mud that Greenville's so famous for.
Yeah. Just seems to cling to the bike everywhere. Crossing the rut sometimes is a good way to get across, but then if the bank's 4 feet high at the other side, it's real difficult to maneuver in that mud. You can stick your foot down and pull your foot up and have your boot still stuck in the mud.
Well, this guy's got his work cut out for him. But he's got help. We've got a group with a rope here. That bike probably weighs an extra 50 pounds, wouldn't you say?
No doubt. But you tend to do a lot of crawling when it's muddy like this, and I don't think any of it's planned. Having the proper tires on a day like today's best thing you can do to get through these. You'd like a nice open pattern, a good mud tire. Makes all the difference. There's a good loop out.
Yeah, but he got his bike over the top.
Sometimes you just throw it over the other bank. As long as it's on the other side, you're a lot happier than having to dig it out of a mud hole.
Like this.
Right. That's how sticky that mud is. When it takes 4 or 5 people on a rope to pull a bike out, that mud really just is like super glue. Here's 23.1 miles out.
Yeah, that's a check.
Right.
33.
And they just flipped it over for the 33rd minute. So if a rider was on time, the riders on row 33 would be coming through the check.
We don't have to worry much about that today.
No,
though,
this
do
is
we?
not a timekeeping event today. There's rider 21. He's about 12 minutes late. Most of the riders are not racing into the check. I think they're just trying to maintain their stamina to finish the event.
And here they come out of yet another wood section.
This was typical of a wood section. You would see all this water, and it was deep. It was really surprising how many logs and branches and holes there were underneath that water. If your bike wasn't waterproof, I don't think you finished today.
Probably didn't get this far.
Nope. Lots of standing water in the wood sections today. Here's one of the creek crossings. We crossed this creek 3 times, I think, during the race, and it was deep and it was cold. And you always want to cross where the water's rippling, because then you know it's not a deep hole underneath the water.
This one looks a little bit more like a river today, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. I can remember wheeling across this creek in races before, but not today.
Some of the spectators do a lot of work to prepare for the riders. Here comes the first one through this section. You can see there's a little narrow creek here, and as soon as this guy gets out of this rut here and gets into the creek, you can see the creek's not very deep. It's flowing pretty fast. It's really very easy. But people were sort of scared of water by then, I think, so a lot of them decided to go into this mud hole over here, which our spectator friends were more than happy to oblige.
Here's Gary Evans taking an alternate route around the creek.
Which in this case really didn't save any time.
No.
But you don't know ahead of time where the course is going to go, so it's just a gamble.
Right. And taking spectators' advice sometimes is a gamble, depending on whether they want to see you get stuck or see you get through.
Yeah, the spectators we had with us at this particular point are unique, maybe, to Greenville. They don't hesitate to route you the wrong way and get you stuck, but then they aren't afraid to jump in there and get wet and muddy to help you get out.
Right.
Now there's a buried log underneath the water there, and if you don't stay to their right, it's tricky to get through there.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than a wet log. You'll go down on your ear more times than you can count.
Especially when it's underwater and you can't even see it.
Right.
Right there.
Yep.
Of course, I don't think even that's as bad as the mud hole's getting.
No.
And the truth is, if you stay to the rider's right, like this guy does, you can see you get through there without hardly any problem at all.
Right.
Oops. Went a little bit wide on that turn.
Yeah, you have to look where you're going, too.
Well, that guy went a little bit to his left and he got hung up on that log. I think they'd be tired of these mud holes by this time.
Well, as long as their motor's still running, they're more than willing to try to find another one. Even when I go through this creek section, I'm doubting the spectators' advice.
getting pretty soupy over there.
Yeah.
Watch, this guy is going to lose his boot here. You see when he steps out. There he goes. Whoops! There's his boot.
I think when riders come out of this section, they're relieved to see dry land.
Yep, and they get to run down the road and throw off some of that mud, too. Well, here's another checkpoint.
There's 60 miles out and 20 or 30 more miles to go. Seems like you've been on the bike forever.
This guy looks like he's picked up a little mud, Kirk.
Yeah. He looks like a happy camper. He's probably finding out how much longer it is to the end of the race.
Looks like they're heading into another typical wood section for Greenville.
Lots of water and lots of tight trees and always that mud.
And here they're coming out into another Greenville specialty, the plowed field.
Yeah, and you are glad when you're through. It's nothing but bouncing up and down and all that mud just sending you every which way but the way you want to go.
Don't forget the crisscross ruts, too.
Right.
This guy looks a little bit tired, and he doesn't have any rear fender. And he's been getting a mud bath all afternoon.
Yeah. Fortunately for the riders, we don't have to cross this river. We ride a trail along the bank there. But they had a nice little surprise for us. You think even almost this close to the end, there's the spectator, so you know there's something up.
Of course, if you try to go around and take a shortcut, nobody will help you.
That's right. Spectators have no mercy for you if you try to cheat them out of a view.
Yep. You can see it is a fairly steep hill, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This rider doesn't care about him. He just wants his bike up on top of the hill.
Whoa. Can't even get to the hill.
No.
What do you think about trying to go up with no run at it?
I don't think it's going to work on a day like today. You need momentum.
Pretty slick turn there.
Yeah. Well, they're flipping their bikes left and right today.
Did you expect him to get up the hill that badly?
Badly? I think he done great. I think he done exceptionally well. Hey, after 70 miles of this, buddy, I'll tell you what, it's rough. If you got enough to get up that hill, you got it.
I think this is our friend with no rear fender. Yep, it sure is. He's been taking a mud shower for the last 50 miles.
How did you do?
I had a real good ride until near the end, and I got stuck in some water and my bike drowned out, and I had to change about 10 spark plugs and on and on and on. So I houred out. I didn't win.
Eating out of the bag here, Doug?
And we're cheering Dave on. He stopped.
I know. I thought you were saying.
I want to try the dirtiest motorcycle.
Well, how did it do? Did it wear out on you?
And I broke my back fender off.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's muddy out there.
So how many did you get?
I don't know. They kept my score. I'm going to guess 50.
What else happened out there? How far did you make it?
I finished.
You did?
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Lots of water.
How did you get to change any spark plugs?
No. Found it out twice.
Oh, really? So you're pretty confident that you did pretty decent today?
No.
No.
Bad day. Got fence wound up my wheel. That's what tore my back fender off.